everyone, RemanX here, and we're going to start with a very, very important conversation, and it's going to be one that I think a lot of people want to hear. You know, I know a lot of people come to me for ISO recommendations, and you're wondering why I've been kind of lax as updating my sheet. Well, that's going to be revealed today, as well as all of the recommendations going with your 4 and potentially 5 equips on your characters. So stay tuned. Yeah, you're not going to like the results here. So let's start with something that I've been doing. So let's take a character like Rogue here, who I've got to find on my roster. You know, Rogue is a character where I haven't equipped the blue ISO 4 on her yet, because I'm still just determining whether or not the value will be for raids. Now, she might very well be the character, especially, you know, if the raids have the blue ISO 4 requirement, which we expect them to have going forward. So here is something that I found was a major issue that I think both Scopely and we need to be aware of. So when we're taking a look at the, it's like switching her right now. So if I take a look at Skirmisher, and I took her to blue ISO 4, it would cost me 415 of these, okay, blue ISOs. This tier 2 level 4 ions. So let's take a character like MILF, Morgan Le Fay, who will have a blue ISO 4. So let's say I wanted to take her to Striker, right? Well, you can see that I've already started talking about this as far as the test, because I got her at 7 red stars. And you could see that it costs all of these ions over again. So these hard to obtain ions over again, which is important to understand that there's level 5 ions that you're going to be getting from these events are going to be at a premium. So it feels kind of counterproductive to have to spend them twice. I get maybe 1 through 3 because they've made it fountainable, but we were actually taking away the ability to theory craft altogether by doing this right now. It doesn't allow us the agency that we need to feel confident about our decisions for these characters, and it makes it very, very challenging to make these determinations going forward. And so this is the concern I have. You guys got to realize that there is going to be an amazing amount of testing. You guys have already seen that I've already spent some ISOs on characters to try to determine their best overall value. And you know, especially like the Hero Asgards, there might be some changes to them inside of the Scourge event. Whether or not they need the full blue ISO will be a different story. But I want you to be aware that some of their striker attacks are exceptional in that specific game mode. All of that being said, you need to take a hard look at your roster and make sure you're not wasting these blue ISOs when you know that this is going to be the biggest stumbling block. Forget gear 17. That's the tree, right? You guys are looking at the one tree, G17. The forest is these blue ISOs. All right? Blue ISO 5 is going to be the single contributing factor to who gets Apocalypse maxed out first. And I think that is going to be the important level of all of this. So it's something that you need to be judicious in how you spend your blue ISOs. So I don't want to throw shade at any other content creator, but I think the degree with which they just willy-nilly make ISO suggestions, it frustrates me because I'm not confident I've done enough testing to make a suggestion so you guys don't waste your resources. And I see an infographic pop up that I could probably make toilet paper out of and make better value. Sorry, not sorry. And it's important that you take a look at your own rosters, understand the mechanics of this, which has been the purpose of my channel going forward. Because it's so important. I don't think gear tier 17 is going to be an issue. We already know how to get it through the raids, through the store. The blue ISO 5 is going to be the single biggest limiting factor. And if it isn't available in the raids, And then at the end of the day, that will be the gateway to your demise when it comes to Apocalypse. So knowing that you can't easily shift once you select a blue ISO 4, you better think twice before you hit that equip button. And Marvel Strike Force, this is for you. This is way too easy to click on this and waste some resources. No joke. Way too easy to click on that and waste some resources. You see Thanos. Same thing. Way too easy to click on those and accidentally waste some resources if you're shifting gears, trying to switch some ISOs. So the thing about ISO is when they came out, it was really cool. We had the blue ISO 1 gave you the basic abilities. We got the chance, or green ISO 1 gave us the basic abilities. We can play around with the unlocks, and at the very basics, building them to 4 and 5 was going to be a challenge, but it wasn't necessary to beat certain modes. Now that ISOs are hard gates to content, I'm doubling down that you want to be absolutely careful from this. And again, these events that we've gotten, and I expect that there's probably some in the raids going forward, but I'm not sure we're going to see blue ISO 5 until near the end game raids, which may be, you know, they've uncovered several different data mines for the raids as far as difficulty levels. So let me be very clear. I don't think I'm the best at ISO. I think the community in my channel helps me come up with the best solutions because I'm not a confirmation bias prone person. In fact, I invite discussion because I don't want to cost you resources. So I promise you that when we make these guides, it isn't just my thoughts or my impulses clicking on and making these recommendations. They're actual gameplay, ideally, to make sure that they're saving you these resources. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've been very, very disappointed by my colleagues' choices for ISO because I don't think they honor the amount of effort and money that it'll take to make these changes when they're wrong. And by the way, other people have no problem sending their chat or et cetera into my chat to question my choices when through testing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mine have stood the test of time. If you guys want to harken back to the Axemen conversation, the ever eternal conversation with Skirmisher on Bishop, we solved that one a long time ago. Same thing with the information when we go down to my choices for the Web Warriors, how important that slow is for Spider-Man to land, the defense down to be spread. It has absolutely been the foundations of this. And again, another thing you guys got to remember is I have the luxury of testing these teams on occasion before they go live. And the other thing you need to know is I don't test them with the basic ISOs that were given on the test center. I switch them around and retest them to find the best solution. You could look at other videos and see what they've done with the test center. I spend the time to do the ISO swaps to try to find them best when I can on there. So it's very, very important. I haven't updated a lot of the new teams because I have to honor their Scourge teams. I have to honor their utility everywhere else. But the last warning here is blue ISO 4 probably shouldn't be equipped on anybody but the Horseman team for now, until it's a hard gate for you guys for raids. And then you better hope that the Horseman teams are usable inside of the raids. And that's what we're going to be determining the next set of weeks here when the new content drops. So stay tuned. I do things so you guys don't have to. I'm going to be spending a lot of money on ISOs to lock these in, because I think the blue ISO 4 choices are going to be significant and really, really, really hard to swap out when push comes to shove.